All right. Hey, let's recap that, I guess.
Yep.
Michigan loses to Maryland in what I would call the ugliest Big Ten game I have seen this season. I'm not going to go back further than that because, listen, don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of really, really ugly Big Ten basketball in my 30 years on this planet. But tonight's up there. Maryland should be embarrassed for that first half. I mean, I don't know what happened. They scored 21 points. They were down 12 to a Michigan team without their point guard, without their sixth man. Trey Jackson suddenly was out, apparently concussion protocol in this game. So by all accounts, Michigan had 4 players they normally play active in this game. And they were kind of giving it to Maryland early. And then Maryland did the thing every team does against Michigan. And they're just like, oh, yeah, we're better than you. Let's go win the game. What'd you see tonight, Brian?
I think this stat to close the game is very telling of how the whole thing went. So Maryland closed the game on a 6-0 run in the last 2 minutes, 21 seconds, scored the final 6 points of the game. They also did not make a field goal in the last 4 minutes and 49 seconds of the game. So they did not make a shot for 5 minutes and still close on a 6-0 run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how the game was. This was horrific to watch. It was bad basketball. You saw some flashes of like, oh, hey, yeah, Jameer Young, you should get out of here. You saw some flashes of that. But Maryland hit threes in the second half. They hit a couple of threes that I think kind of changed this game and gave them momentum because Maryland has not hit threes this year. Particularly Dante Scott. He has not played well. He had his best game of this season. But it was, we said in the preview that this was going to decide who probably is going to finish last in the Big Ten. I think this performance hammered home that I think Michigan's the worst team in the Big Ten this year.
Brian, they covered. Like Maryland didn't score at the end of the game, like you said. They covered somehow.
Yeah.
They trailed by 12 at halftime, didn't score in the final 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And covered. Like,
right.
There's so many hilarious moments and elements to this. From a basketball sense, we got a bunch of funny clips. Joe Jackson, our friend who does a lot of the Purdue highlights and all across the Big Ten highlights, actually. I shouldn't just limit him to Purdue, but he's a Purdue guy. Anyway, he was cutting up live like some of the funniest moments of this. And there was like a sloppy loose ball around half court that Maryland recovered and then threw over to the backcourt immediately for a turnover. There was a ball that bounced off, I believe, Julian Reese's head when Terrence Williams drove and almost went in as a basket for Michigan. Then we had the iconic, I mean, this is the most iconic possession I've seen. The iconic Maryland duo who would not shoot the ball in with 30 seconds left in the game, up 3 as the shot clock's winding down. They just refuse to shoot the ball. The shot clock runs out.
Up three in the final minute and a half of the game.
Brian, if you're Kevin Willard, what are you supposed to do? Because obviously it's a confidence thing with the shooting. They've been one of the worst shooting teams in the country. And I don't even know that I can call it confidence more so than just skill. Like, it's a lack of skill on this team and guys who know they can't shoot. Yeah. What is Kevin Willard supposed to do?
Recruit better players. To be quite honest. Like, we talked about this on the preview too, but they built this team expecting some guys to step up and expecting some young guys to play big roles. Harris Smith being chief among those. And he misevaluated just about all of that because none of the guys are able to fill the roles that, other than Reese and Young, none of the guys are able right now to fill the roles that they're being asked to play. That last possession, there's no awareness, zero awareness of what was happening on the clock. One guy, I think, knew what was happening, and Harris Smith had no idea that the shot clock was low. They were just running around playing, and that speaks to some of the youth and inexperience on this team. You should have that ironed out, though, by mid-January, which is where we're at now. But do you want another fun stat?
Please.
Despite all of this, Maryland is a game behind Purdue in the Big Ten standings.
Oh, my God. It's so Big Ten. I love it. It gets the juices flowing. Yeah. Oh, man. I feel bad for a lot of people in this game or involved in this game. I'd like to just run through a list of some of the people I feel bad for quickly.
Let's hear it.
I feel bad for myself, first off, and I feel bad for Michigan fans that have to watch this team. I feel bad for Maryland fans. I heard from a couple, to quote John Rothstein, well-embedded moles in Annapolis tonight, or wherever that place is.
College
It's
Park.
bad. College Park. It's bad. It's bad. They hate their team, and that was visible through the telecast and from people that were on site. I feel bad for Jalen Llewellyn, who played 33 minutes tonight, and honestly, I thought like really gave everything that kid
Yeah.
has. I don't know that he's played 33 minutes in like the last calendar year, and he had 9 points, 3 assists. He's clearly not capable of certain things. This is a guy who used to be a really good basketball player at Princeton, and he's coming off the horrible season-ending injury. He wasn't sure if he was ever going to play basketball again. Now, because of Doug McDaniel's mischief, he's thrown into this spot on the road. Like, hey, by the way, imagine being like a non-rotation player who's just like, hey, only in road games you get to go handle the ball against a press.
Right.
It's so unfair to him, and I thought he did admirably despite failing. And I'm not a Llewellyn guy, but he had a visible limp with like 4 minutes left in this game. He's limping back to the huddle, and I'm like, I just feel so bad for this 24-year-old kid. I don't know, man. Like it's gotta be so hard for everyone involved in the Michigan program right now, because they have to want to blame Doug for all of this. And if they were still failing with Doug, don't get me wrong, but like it visibly changed when the team internally knew that this was coming.
Yeah.
And before that, they were at least a competitive basketball team. Now it's like everybody hates each other. They know this is a lost season. And I don't know what you do with it from here. We talked on the preview speculating this, Brian. We almost got it dead on, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't heard your thoughts on the whole academic 6-game away probation. What do you think?
The away part makes no sense to me. Suspend him or don't suspend him.
Yeah.
Like these half measures that Juwan Howard is taking here make no sense to me. I know you kind of like need him because that's your best chance of winning games, is having Doug McDaniel on court. At the same time, you're not really punishing him.
No. No, you're not.
Just if you want to suspend him for 6 games, do a flat 6-game suspension and say, get your academics in order and let's move on. Right. If you want to hold him out till whenever the 6-game suspension is going to be over, hold him out that long and say, get your stuff in order. But this little half kind of in and out, I think hurts Doug, hurts the rest of the team. Good luck finding any sort of rhythm when you got a guy playing every other game, essentially. And I think hurts Juwan Howard's look. I mean, this season for Michigan is a reality show. None of it is real. It all makes no sense. So I understand that things are run with the most sound logic, but I fail to see the logic behind it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I essentially said a lot of the same things as you on our pod episode today, but I like the reality TV show call. We used to call Illinois the Real Housewives of Champaign. That was all of last year. To me, if we're going reality with Doug, I've been trying to think of a good one. It might be like Flavor of Doug. Did you ever watch Flavor of Love? This season?
I saw it. I was not an avid watcher, but I've seen it. Yes.
Okay, yeah. This is just like, it's Flavor of Doug. Everybody got a little flavor of Doug. We saw the flavor early in a good way. Now we get the flavor in a bad way. And we're like maybe 2 weeks from like 2 of the contestants on Flavor of Doug spitting on each other. Like I feel like we're gonna see Michigan teammates spit on each other soon. That's where I'm at. Deshaun Harris-Smith is bad. His production ended up pretty good tonight, but like that guy,
it was bad. It took a lot to get there.
Yeah, and you can tell, as much as I just like, and I don't know, just kind of shove that to the side. Like, he's bad, it's a fact. I feel bad for him because he's clearly going through it mentally. And look, he was never the greatest shooter at the high school level. He did have one good EYBL session shooting. Shout out Jeff Porcello for that number. But you can tell, like, he doesn't want to shoot the ball. He knows he shouldn't shoot the ball. And this offense so much breaks down into him needing to shoot the ball because teams smartly guard them into that. And he has to play big minutes because their bench just doesn't have enough answers. The only other thing I want to hit on from this game is the guys from Maryland that did play well. I feel like they deserve it. Dante Scott won them this game. I mean, nobody could hit a 3 in the first half. He hits 4 threes very quickly in a row in the second half. He kept getting open. They kept running some nice little flare screen action for him. But to me, to be as scared to shoot as he was in the first and then come and hit 4 when your team needed it, that was impressive.
I will say this, as bad as the rest of Maryland is and has been, if you get the same exact thing from Jameer Young and Julian Reese that you've gotten to this point in the season, Maryland is significantly better if Dante Scott plays 75% this well in those games. He has been bad this year. He regressed from where he was last year. This was the first time we saw him step up and have a major impact in a game against a team with a pulse.
Yeah.
So like this was, I think, if you're a Maryland fan looking to take something positive away from this game, it is that Dante Scott played well.
Yeah.
Because that's something you need moving forward. If you are going to turn this thing around, is you need him to play well. You need him to be that legitimate third option with Reese and Young. And he did that tonight. And as bad as everybody else played, it was, and Maryland might be at the point now where they just need to find enough that can be good enough.
100%. I won't be surprised if it happens, to be honest, because I get they lost shooting. That's the answer. But I still don't really follow how you lose Hakeem Hart and Donald Carey and replace them with a 5-star recruit and get this. But if they do figure it out, I won't be stunned. I'm not betting on it based on this performance, but I still won't be shocked if they do turn around. I would be absolutely stunned if Michigan wins more than one game the rest of the season. I'm sorry to say that. KenPom has them favored in 2 games. They are home against Iowa and home against Rutgers. They are slight favorites in those 2 games. I think that's being generous to this Michigan team, quite frankly. That's Brian Ralph from Heat Check CBB. I'm GregWaddell from Sleepers Media. We will be doing recaps and previews for all the big games this season and for some reason all the Michigan games this season. Click subscribe so you don't miss them.